All right, everybody, we are down to our last few cards for this week. And so I wanted to show you what we're making today. First, we have this melting snowman. Then we've got a snowman that's not melting. This one has some bright, colorful gifts. And this one's got a cute decorated reindeer, possibly a moose. I don't know which. All right, so let's start with the presents because this one takes a couple of turns with it and a little bit of tape. It's the only one that we're using today that needs some tape. So I know my card is tall, that it's vertical in this one, kind of portrait orientation, but the cards that we're working with are, well, I guess it's the same size. It was just a tight fit. I'm gonna go this way this time. So I'm gonna make it horizontal instead. And I'm gonna use the flat side of my paper. And I need to tape off some things. And so just to give it clean edges for what we're painting. So I'm doing just a little bit on the edge. And I'm just doing one stack of presents at a time, or one present at a time. And then I'm gonna move over a little bit and put one right here. And then with my small flat brush is what I'm working with. So the small bright brush, any color you want. And I kind of did a group of colors that go together. It's called analogous on the color wheel, colors that are near each other on the color wheel in the same family. So I'm gonna stick with kind of what I've got here. So I'm going into some bright orange and I'm just painting a stripe straight across. Doesn't have a lot of water, so this one should dry pretty quick. Let's see, I'm going to the red orange now, and I don't want to touch my colors. I just want to get right up next to them. So pretty close, but not really overlapping is my goal, and I can control that by how much water I'm using. Because if it's got too much water, it's gonna run and get puddly, and then they'll run together, and I'm trying to just let it be kind of clean lines. And you can decide how many you want. I'm gonna shoot for 5 right here in my box. Finish with a bright red. They can fade, you know, kind of ombre if you want. They could go in a pattern. You could use 2 colors and just, you know, A, B, A, B, A, B if you want. All right, so I'm gonna let that one be for a moment, just so I can get really clean cut lines whenever I pull it off. So I'm gonna scoot this aside, get it off my table. All right, and I'll scoot it aside. So now let's do the melting snowman. He looks hard, but he's really not, and he's really kind of cute and fun. So we're working on smaller paper, so it's gonna be a little bit trickier, but we can do it. So I need a watery kind of blue, and this one has a bit of blue and a bit of black just to make it kind of a gray blue. But anytime that you're painting snow, don't ever use just black. I mean, our brain tells us snow is white, therefore the shadows, the opposite is black, but it's not. You're gonna work with blues and purples and grays and things like that, but never just black. So let's see, I'm gonna get my small brush again, and I want just a really, really, really watery, like I said, blue with a tiny bit of black mixed into it. So just to kind of gray it up a little bit. I'm looking for a clean spot on my paint palette. I didn't wash it beforehand. All right, I'm going into one that's got some purple in it, but that's okay. Like I said, that'll work. So in this one, we're going to need a small circle that just kind of goes around. And it's more like an incomplete circle. Because I need to put his hat on him in this particular one. He's got this kind of like bucket hat kind of thing, like literally a bucket or a pail or something like that. I mean, you can make it different, but for what we're doing, this is what I want. So same color I'm going to make a larger circle behind it. So it comes out here, and then as I come forward, I'm going to get that shadow wider. So in the back, my shadow is thin and small, and notice how watery it is. It doesn't have a lot of pigment going on in it at all. And then as I come up here, I'm going to spread it out a bit. And I might even come back with just some water to help do that. Kind of helps fade it out. And then, felt like I needed to lighten those, so I'm gonna come back in with that just a little bit. Same with the footprints. So there's a couple of footprints leading up to it. And I'm gonna add more shadows in a moment because there's shadows under the arms and the nose, but we'll get that in just a minute. So in the meantime, I think I'm gonna add the eyes, and then I'm gonna add the arms or the hat, whichever one looks drier. So just a little bit of black coal eyes, what I've got. And they're gonna go kind of low in this circle to leave room for the hat. They don't have to be perfect circles. Actually, if they're a piece of coal, then they would not be perfect circles. All right, for the hat. Let's see. Like I said, I'm still working with really small brushes. I'm using just, again, some brown, really watered down brown. None of this is going to be super strong. The arms have a bit darker, but the hat does not. So the part on the top, kind of like an oval. Looks like he's got a halo on. And then down one side, round it off again. And then I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna come in and add some of the shadows. You see how he's got shadows on the side? I'm gonna come in and add those in just a minute. But while it's doing that, I'm gonna add the little carrot nose. So I'm going in with a bright orange. And this one is not very watery. Just like that. Okay, gonna come in with some of the twigs for the arms. Again, this time not very watery. And from the big lump, because the small lump is his head, so the small circle is his head. So from this fatter one where the body was, that's where I'm gonna go. You can see how it's starting to bleed where I wasn't patient in letting it dry. I may come in with a paper towel and try to clean that up a bit. All right, so back to the hat. Again, with the not quite so watery, I'm gonna make it kind of curve around a little bit, and then just on one side. Man, I feel like I'm not really on my A game this morning. I mean, you could always come back and do it with a pen as well. All right, excuse me. So, shadows under the carrot nose and under the arms, come back to wherever your shadow color was. Little tiny brush, just one that kind of goes right under the carrot. It doesn't touch it, it just goes underneath it. And then the same with the arms. Just kind of goes under the arms, but doesn't touch it. And that's it for a little melting snowman. Give you one last chance to kind of get a good look at it and see if there's anything you're questioning. Okay, so for our other snowman, I need to clean off a spot in my palette real quick. I don't paint a lot of snow, and so I don't have too many colors already mixed that I would use for that. So I just need to clear some of those out. Okay, I think I'm ready. Other snowman, he's gonna be tall. So put your paper vertically. Now this guy uses a bit of a brighter blue, but again, notice there's no black other than the coal for the buttons and eyes and the mouth. There's no black on it. It's just blue for the snow. Got some shadows on the backside where it's lighter, some blended ones kind of on the front, and then some here on the ground. So I'm working with a small brush again, and I'm mixing up a watery blue. You can always go darker, so start real light. So real watery blue. I already got something all over my paper. It's all over my hands. All right, so the bottom circle, kind of doing the back side of it a little bit, and then the front side, and some of the ground. I'm gonna come in with some clean water and just kind of blend that out a little bit. If I feel like it got too strong of a color, dab it with a paper towel and kind of pull some of that out. I'm gonna do the same with the middle body part of the circle, so a little bit smaller. So I think the lifting out with the paper towel is definitely something that's helping me. And then his face, or the head snowball. That one's only kind of halfway because I'm going to put a hat on him. Before those bodies all dry, I'm going to come in with a bit brighter of a blue. So I'm adding a little bit more blue to my water puddle in my paint palette. And from the bottom, kind of start in with a little bit darker of a blue, and then just on one side. I'm not adding any more to the back side of him. I'm just adding some more here. So kind of under the snowball on one side, same thing under the snowball on one side, a little bit on this one. So that has my snowman. So I'm going to add his hat and his features. So I'm going to come back in with my small brush for the hat because I'm still working with the blue. So a flat brim to the hat. And then I'm going to do one side and across the top just a little bit. And then the front side, and I'm gonna leave it white in the center. So what I'm going to do is, just like I smoothed out those snowballs, I'm gonna come in with some clean water and kind of soften those lines, but I'm not going to try to paint it solid. And you can come in with your tiniest brush with a bit more blue. Added a bit more to my puddle, and just on, whoa, didn't take much, man. Just on that side, I touched down a little bit of paint just to darken this a little bit. I don't want it to be the exact same color as the snow. I want people to realize that the hat is darker. I'm lifting out some of it because it got a little crazy. All right, I need this guy to dry before I start doing the features on him or they will bleed everywhere. So in the meantime, let's go back to our presents. So I'm gonna set that aside, come back over here. I'm gonna carefully lift my tape, drag it at a 45-degree angle to keep it from tearing my paper. Save this piece because I'm gonna use it again. Same with this one. Now on the other side, same thing. I'm gonna mark off a space. And on this one, I did blues and purples. You don't have to. You can do, like I said, again, whatever kind of color pattern you want. But I'm gonna stick with what I liked. So, picking up some of that snowman blue since I've got it mixed. And then since we're done with the snow colors, I'm gonna add some purple to that same blue puddle. Maybe some greens to it. Kind of change it up to a blue-green. Maybe some turquoise. I think I want one more line because I want it to be taller than the other stack of lines on that other present, just for some variety. All right, so this one's gonna sit now, and then I'll finish the last stack of presents next. Set it aside. Our fourth card is going to be this little reindeer. So it's gonna be tall. I'm gonna work with a small flat brush. I'm gonna mix up a really watery brown, and you can put a slight bit of red or orange into it if you want to change the kind of brown, or maybe a slight bit of black if you don't want it to be the true brown. I think my palette had a little bit of blue in mine, so I'm gonna go with a little bit of that. Real watery, okay? So first thing we're gonna do is we're going to make an oval for his main head. Kind of a teardrop shaped oval. I'm gonna put most of my pigment at the top, and then I'm gonna come back with a wet brush and blend it in at the bottom, kind of like we did the Christmas ornaments with the glass and lids. And that kind of does some automatic shading for us. So it's darker at the top and brighter at the bottom, lighter at the bottom. And then I'm gonna add some ears while I'm at it too. So just from the top, I'm gonna make a line that goes down like this. Same on the other side. That one's a lot darker, wow. And then with a clean brush, that's pretty dry actually. I tapped it on my paper towel. I'm just gonna finish the bottom of that ear just by spreading out what I already have. Okay, give you a second to get that. All right, for the body, don't touch just yet. So, but come down one side, under the chin, and the other side. And then come in with some clean water and blend it out. That kind of gives that white belly kind of look. I think these would be cute if later you went in even with a paint pen or a marker or paint once you've let this layer dry and did like a wreath around his neck would be really cute, or some kind of Santa hat or bow tie or something would be cute. But anyway, so that part is going to dry. Now for his antlers, I went in a little bit darker, so I added a little bit more brown or whatever dark color you're using. Add a little more black or blue or something. And went straight out and up. And then just kind of came in and added some where those horns are starting to form and getting rounded there. And they really can look like anything. All right. So while the reindeer himself is drying, I'm going to put a couple of ornaments in and then let them dry. So you can mix up your colors. These all stayed red. I think I'm going to change mine this time and do multiple colors. So I am going to put one red one right here. I'm going to go with the circle. And then I'm going to come in with a wet brush that doesn't have any new paint on it and just kind of touch that up. And again, I'm okay with leaving some white spaces because it just makes it look like shine, like the highlight. I'm going to choose a different color back here on this other side. And maybe even a different shape. We talked about that yesterday, some of the different kinds of ornament shapes that are out there. You could have one that's kind of like this. And then one more, maybe a purple for me. I'm gonna put it right under his ear. And then again, I'm going to come in with just a wet brush, clean water, spread that around a bit. All right, so we're going to put his features on him in a moment once he's all dry. So we're going to slide him aside. And let's go back to our snowman in the blues. With your smallest brush possible, let's pick up a little bit of orange for the nose. Get his carrot nose on him. And then with, again, same small brush, we're doing all the details with this. Some brown for his arms. So this arm on this side, you can't see where it connects to the snow, so I'm just kind of starting where you can start to see it. But this one, I can see it go into the snowman, so it's gonna cross over the snowball line a little bit. Okay. Now for his button nose, or button eyes, coal eyes, whatever, buttons, blah, blah, blah. Mouth, you can do it in paint or you can do it in Sharpie, whatever works for you. I feel like he's pretty dry, so it's safe to come in with my paint. If you notice, my button line kind of curves a little bit just to kind of help show that the snowball curves. And then I thought it was fun to put a little bird on his arm. He's got a buddy. So I'm gonna come in with a little cardinal. Kind of an oval for the body. Little line for the tail. And then they've got that mohawk, so kind of a bit of a triangle. And that is my little snowman card. Like this. Okay. So 2 snowmen done. Let's go back to the gifts and then we'll finish off our reindeer. So carefully peel off your tape again. And then we're gonna put some, and it'll be over our other presents, but we're gonna kind of give some space in between them. So it's got that nice, clean, white gap in between them. A little bit on this side. These I did in greens. Again, whatever color you want. Small, flat, bright brush. This is my well, I guess it's not, yeah, it is my lowest stack that I made, so. All right, one more line and try to figure out what color I want. Maybe if I mix this green with some of my moose or reindeer brown, gives me kind of a camouflage green. All right, so gifts, painting is done. I'm gonna set them aside. For this reindeer guy, he has a little mouth like this. And he's got nostrils on the side. And then he's got eyes. And little eyebrows. And then I gave him some extra help outlining. So I outlined his ears. A little bit of shaggy hair on the top. Other ear. Went over his antlers. And then you can add the little cap to your ornament and the string, and I just kind of scribbled it around a few times to make it look tangled on his antlers. Okay, around his face. And then his body, and then I gave his belly an outline too. And you could, again, every now and then put a little squiggly line for some fur. And that's the little reindeer. So when your presents are dry, which mine are not yet, remove your last bit of tape, and then I just drew a straight line down the middle. I put a bow on top. That's it. Okay, real quick, I want to show you a couple others. You don't have to do them, and we're not going to spend time on them, but I just want to show them to you. So look at this one. This one has ornaments, and then just a line connecting them. This one has a lot of layers, but it was really fun. So candles, so just straight line, and then circles in oranges and yellow, but you have to let them dry. This one had jingle bells, just like an ornament, but kind of a line across the middle. If you want to see any of these up close at my desk, you can. Kind of some really watery trees in the background, and then a really bright, colorful one. Remember the first day we did that painted swatch? Here's one with 3 different colors of paint. You could do also with the trees. Simple little Christmas tree. Simple little Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Little bird. Started out kind of like the ornament with some red and brown, but then I added a tail and legs. snow globe, also really easy and fun. These are kind of fun where you draw it and then you just put a paint splatter in it. So I drew a piece of holly and then just did some paint splatters. Super fast, easy, cute one. This one too. Blues to make little trees. Bunch of little colorful triangles to make other Christmas trees. And I used the same color once it dried on the next layer to make stripes on them. And then do you remember our doodles one, our watercolor doodles? Same one here. So I did different blues and purples and then made different little branches of things that are holiday looking. So a lot more ideas, any of those. So sign them, clean it up, keep them together. Tomorrow I'm gonna show you how to turn them into cards.